Welcome to another episode of the Leo Kanan podcast with myself, Yvonne, Frank, and Amanda. And we're going to talk about this attempted Trump assassination and the kid involved that was bullied throughout high school. Because, I mean, growing up for me, I've always had a problem with bullies. Mm-hmm. And the majority of the altercations I got in when I was in school as a young kid was because someone was bullying somebody. Mm-hmm. I never really understood bullying.
I'd like to know: was there a example of him being mistreated at school and being bullied? Is there a specific example? Because there's different types of bullying. Mm-hmm. You know, it could be cyberbullying, it could be visual, it could be, mental. There's so much. Is there anything that they've mentioned about that?
Well, the clip that I saw on it was a kid, one of the kids that went to school with him was saying that he just got bullied every day at school. He didn't go into cyberbullying or not. So I'm taking it from that right. It was a form of physical bullying or face-to-face bullying. Mm-hmm. Cyberbullying is a different issue. I mean, I think they've normalized cyberbullying by calling it trolling now. Mm-hmm. So that's the new name for it. It's called trolling. So it's been normalized.
Like, funny backstory. I guess when I was younger, a lot younger, like first, second grade, I used to get bullied. I would never get hit, but it was more so like words. They would say, "Oh, you look like this, you look like that," and I guess that type of form of bullying kind of made me insecure, but also made me want to be better for myself. I'm like, all right, you think I look like this? All right, watch this. I'm gonna, be better. So that's why I'm trying to figure out what type of bully did he get. Was he like beat every day, or was it just like with words?
I think it was physical bullying. There's only one way to respond to bullying, because bullies are inherently cowards.
Mm-hmm. Be better than them.
But how you be better than them? You have to whoop some ass. You got to beat somebody up. You have to fight back.
Yeah.
You can't. You have to stand and fight. That's the only language. That's the we talking about love language. That's the bully's love language. If you find yourself being bullied, then you got to stand and fight.
Mm-hmm. But what about when a lot of these people are saying kill them with kindness? Like, how do you feel about that?
That's what your mom says usually. Kill them with kindness.
Yeah, that sounds like something the mom said. I don't believe in killing bullies with kindness. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a forum for, kill them with kindness. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? If it doesn't involve physical bullying. Yeah. If it just involves differences in personalities and things like that. If it's in the workplace and there's tension in the workplace, or there's tension between you and someone else where, it may be based on miscommunications and things like that, you can close that space between two people with kindness. Yeah. But not when it comes to physical bullying. Kindness, that's not the bully's love language.
I don't think cyberbullying has been, downturned, because cyberbullying could be worse than physical bullying. Because physical bullying in school is you're getting bullied when you're there. Cyberbullying doesn't stop. It's 24/7. It is, and it could reach a much bigger crowd. Cyberbullying can reach the entire school. Plus, physical bullying reaches one specific place, like your school ground. You're not gonna reach an entire school, but cyberbullying does, and it doesn't stop. Like if you're making fun of somebody on social media, your entire school can see that. They can forward it to everybody, and that is a much more traumatizing for a kid than physical these days.
Oh yeah.
So from the research I've done on like the articles written on the types of bullying, like there's kind of some contradictory remarks on the bullying from the other, like his classmates. Some say he was constantly bullied. Others say it was not as much as everyone's saying. and they don't say exactly what kind, but the one thing they do say is it was mostly mocked for the types of clothes he was wearing. Like he wore a lot of hunting type stuff, and he was really smart in like math and science, so he was a bit nerdy. But that was pretty much. They don't go into exactly what kind of bullying, just kind of the mocking.
So pull up the firefighter, because one of the spectators that was killed, he was a firefighter. He was a family. He was a father, etc., and a firefighter. Pull up his info, because let's say for shits and giggles, all of this is legit, and this kid felt marginalized in some way, so much so that he thought the solution was to bring this rifle to this event, shoot at a presidential candidate, whether we like Donald Trump or not, whatever your personal politics are or not. The solution is not an attempted assassination. I think we could all agree on that, and at least not in this country. So as a result of this kid being marginalized, we have an assassination attempt on an ex-president, presidential candidate. We have a spectator that was a firefighter and a father and a husband. He's dead, and his 20-year-old kid is dead.
Damn.
You see what I mean? And then that's as a result of one kid being marginalized at a school. So, I mean, that's why I want to have the conversation about bullying and about being able to get men and boys to a sacred space where they can teach each other. You see what I mean? Because how do you prevent this from happening? We go from kids driving cars in the malls, and we go from that to these murder suicides, and we go from that to shooting at parades, and now we've got this at a attempt on a presidential candidate's life. So had he been successful in his attempt, we know this would have changed the course of history. A whole lot of people would have taken this personally.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. Trump is he's a well-liked guy for a lot of people, so that would have been something crazy to see, like a live presidential assassination. Because I did see the YouTube video of JFK. That shit was crazy. Did you guys ever see it?
Yeah, I saw that too. Oh yeah,
Multiple times.
but I mean, the thing is, he's a well-liked guy, but he's a polarizing figure. He's got some definite perspectives and opinions on some things. He doesn't vary in his perspective, so that makes him real polarizing. And so you got people on one side that really love him and they think he's the second coming, and then you have people on the other side that detest him. And I think it's incumbent upon the people to wake the fuck up and start demanding good government. That's the solution, because that's going to solve a lot of problems in a way that you don't have to shoot at a presidential candidate.
Do you think the younger kids that are having these mental health issues and going off and shooting like this, like, the Highland Park parade and this Trump shooter and other, instances, that they're politically minded and this is them trying to get better government, searching for a voice because it feels like their vote doesn't count?
I mean, that's a good point. I don't know. I mean, it feels like America's greatest asset is falling apart, which is our social structure.
Yeah.
What I do know is this. I want to finish with this story. Yvonne, I want you to tell us the story about when you was getting bullied when you was a little kid. You was getting your ass kicked. But
Yo?
yeah,
This 6'5"?
Well, believe it,
6'5",
believe it or
200
not, I used to be under 6 feet at one point.
Yeah, 6'5", 225 pounds. They used to bully his
Pure
ass.
muscle.
Yeah, when he was a shorty.
See, look.
That's why he packed on all this muscle, and he's a fitness guru.
Either pack the muscle or get bullied. That's just make it or don't make it. That's how it works.
So would you say that bullying affected you growing up?
I mean, it's different because when I came to this country, I didn't know what to expect. I came here in 5th grade, so when I got here, I was kind of skeptical to do anything because I didn't know what my consequences would be by if I got into a fight. So I kind of stirred up and I was an easy target because I didn't speak any English. And I mean, I wasn't taller than anyone. I was just an average height at the time at 5th grade. I still didn't even hit my puberty yet, But I did know how to fight. I fought, back in the country, and I went through bullying over there. I bullied, tested all the grounds, right? I wasn't somebody that was being picked on. But when I got here, I looked like an easy target. So specific kid in the class, started picking on me. So, at one point I seen, there wasn't going to stop. So my instinct kicked in and, I just took him by his shirt, pulled him, right next to the, I pushed him towards the wall and just start punching on him, and he just constantly, until they pulled us away. And then, all these kids seen this thing, nobody messed with me ever since, because that's something that none of them have ever seen. There's not such fights, at least in the neighborhood that I was at. There wasn't that many fights like that. So I was the only one I've ever seen in the school. So, after that, I was clean. No one touched me ever. That kid as well, stayed away from me. So,
I mean, it had to happen.
Exactly. Yeah.
It had to happen. So, I mean, we're at a point right now. The funny thing is, it seems like we've had such a breakdown because I saw the clips earlier. There was a few clips earlier where they were saying, I think it was Jon Stewart, and he did a clip where and there was a few people saying that they didn't care if Trump was going to be a dictator. It didn't matter. And, if the social fabric continues to break down, natural law is going to respond to the extreme. It's in a way like if America can't put out the fire itself, natural law will step in and put out the fire. You know what I mean? So, we don't want a dictator in this country because, that's getting away from what the founding fathers established.
Yeah.
And we're on a precipice right now. Nobody is no longer having a conversation about Joe Biden. The conversation has switched over fully to Donald Trump. So, where do you think we're gonna go from here? How does this look like? I know you've been in this country so many years, but how does this look like if you tap into that perspective from being a European and you go home, almost every year, you go home to visit family. So you get to step outside the house and then look back inside the window, and so to speak. What does this look like to you from that perspective?
To me, it looks like just a big change. We're going through a big change through technological, psychological, physiological change, and I think a lot of people are not noticing it. I think a lot of people are thinking that we're going back to the good old, and I don't think we are. I think we're going to be stepping up and hitting this one out of the ballpark. How that's going to look like, I really don't know, but it's definitely happening as we speak, and it started happening. I think it started happening ever since COVID started. That was the breaking point where, we're going to the next level.
Yeah, I would have to agree. That was probably some right. And there was a lot of good things that came out of the COVID thing. Not the vaccines, but it switched over a lot of the ways and how we work and provide, because now much of the country can work from home. So you have this incorporated into the economic structure where people can work remotely. And that would have only happened with that paradigm shift that we call COVID. You know, I talked to one of my brothers that's in Egypt, and he was asking me about, he said, how's it look over there? It looks like you guys are going into a civil war. I was like, yeah, it looks like that's, that's been the conversation. He was like, it looks like that's what's going to happen over here too. And he's talking about Egypt. And I'm thinking, I thought Egypt had everything settled down,
Well, Egypt's going through a currency crisis.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are.
What's going on? Sorry.
Well, their inflation is like, I've overheard that overnight it happened like 20%.
Sheesh.
Overnight. And that's compared to the US dollar.
Damn.
Wow.
So, I mean, we got Japan right now going through a currency crisis as well. They're inflating compared to the dollar. So, and it might not get better.
So we got some definite changes coming.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it seems like bullying is a small issue when we're talking about a complete paradigm shift in the economic structure of the world with, Egypt, Japan, was it Argentina? What's the country with the new kid that's running?
There's Argentina, yeah. There's Malay. Malay is their president there, and he's trying to quiet down the inflation that they have, and he has succeeded. He's actually fired 90+% of government workers.
Damn.
To cut down the budget.
I was talking about the Bitcoin president.
Oh, that's Bukele.
Bukele?
Yes.
Which country?
He's in El Salvador.
In El Salvador, because they had the gang problem.
Yes.
And so he came through and cleaned house with the gang problem, which, I mean, gangs to that level that's just bullying to the extreme is what he was dealing with.
Yeah.
So
extreme bullying.
Yes, extreme bullying.
As it could get.
Yeah, he just locked everybody up. So,
You got a tattoo of a gang on your head, which a lot of them did. You're in jail.
You're going to jail.
Like they're not looking to, prosecute you, take you to court. You're in jail.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a lot of
extreme.
blowback.
You got blowback, but people are, from what I see, their population is happy. Their tourism exploded. Their record high tourism there. They have a beautiful country. Their weather is amazing.
Well, they're not too far from the equator.
No, they're not. Yeah, it's always beautiful. They have beaches. They got surfers coming in. So tourism is exploded because it's safe. That's the number one reason. If it's not safe, I don't care what you got. People are not coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. I didn't know that.
Damn, I want to visit El Salvador.
I would too, but I'm definitely gonna go.
Well, I mean, the difference between cyberbullying, I mean, like you were saying a minute ago, cyberbullying can exist in the form of a virus because of social media. I mean, yes. I don't know, did we have cyberbullying before social media? I don't know that it could exist. It didn't exist before social media.
The most extreme thing that somebody could have done is take your naked picture and Xerox copy it and pass it around.
Yeah. So something like that. That was, you're right.
And that was pretty limited because, that will go away. But once it's on the internet, it's not going away.
Totally different beast now that it's on the internet.
It's like bullying on steroids.
Yeah.
I remember one time when I was in 6th grade, we had a cyberbullying event, because someone posted a picture of another girl on Facebook. And she was like, don't you guys think she said something like, she made a reference about her being ugly, and it got 50, 60 likes. And I guess the girl who was being talked about reported it to the principal, and the girl who posted it got expelled from the school. And then we had a whole little cyberbullying event that we had to attend. Because I guess she was really upset. 60 people were laughing at her saying she's ugly and this and that.
Amanda, see if you can pull up a 800 or 1-800 number for bullying or something, so we can get that to our listeners for kids that might be feeling like they're getting bullied, they're marginalized. You can keep going to school and these kids keep trying to whoop your ass behind the lockers or something. You know, is there a hotline for bullying? Is there a number?
There's a stop bullying hotline, 1-800-273-8255, and it's available 24/7.
Make sure you keep that tabbed up so we can get that before we close out the podcast. Because what does it say? Does it say anything else?
It's the Cyber Smile Foundation, and it's also it's supported by the Department of Health and Human Services, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. It's especially for under 18. There's also a suicide prevention hotline.
What's the number? Is it the same number?
It's a different number. It's also 24/7 and also available in Spanish. It's 1-800-273-8255. I guess it is the same number. Sorry.
What is it? Give it to them again.
1-800-273-8255.
So if you know, to our listeners, if you're out there, if you feel, intimidated, if you find somebody that's bullying you and it's reached a point where you don't feel enough willpower to just knock the shit out of somebody, because that's the first solution. You have to remember that bullies are cowards. They're inherently cowards. You know what I mean? And so that's step one. I'll give you a quick story. I was, this is west side of Chicago. So I'm 9 years old. It's wintertime. My mom sent me to the store with her food stamps. And it was like a 6-block walk from the house, 6 blocks to go to the corner store. She wanted me to go get a whole chicken for some, she was going to make some chicken noodle soup, and there was a couple other items in there. So she gave me the food stamps. I go to the store, and I got the chicken, and it was snow on the ground, snow outside. So I'm coming back, and it was, like I said, I was 9 years old. It was 4 other boys. They were sitting on the porch. I walked past the porch, and the boys come off the porch. And they was like, "Where you going, little ass nigga?" And I'm like, "I got to get home. I got my mama's chicken with me." And one of the boys smacked the shit out of me in the back of the head, was like, "Give me that chicken." And he took the bag, took the chicken, and had some bread in there. And then the other dude was like, "What you got in your pockets?" I was like, "I ain't got nothing in my pockets." And so then he went in my pockets. I'm standing there. It's all 4 of them standing around me. Went in my pockets, took my mama food stamps out the pockets. And the next thing I know, somebody clocked me in the side of the head. I got punched. Then somebody pushed me down. And I was getting kicked and stomped. And then somebody took some snow and just mushed it in my face. And then they took off running. So I went home. I had snow. My eyes was red. I went into the house. My mom said, "Boy, where's my chicken?" And I was like, "These boys beat me up and took the chicken. And they took your food stamps." Oh, man, my mom was pissed. So my mom, she put her coat on. She put her boots on and everything. We went outside. I think we walked maybe like 3 or 4 blocks until we found them. They wasn't sitting on the same porch. They were sitting on a different porch. So my mom went right back up. So remember, my mom back when she was young, she was a Black Panther. And that's a whole different podcast because I got some stories about that too. But she saw the boys sitting on the porch. She went up to the porch. She was like, "Hey, did y'all just jump on this boy and take his food and take my money from him?" And it was like, "No, that wasn't us." My mom said, "Was that them?" I was like, "Yeah." She said, "I tell you what, you come down here and you fight him one-on-one. If he fights all 4 of you, you've got to give me my food stamps back and my food." And she looked over at me. She was like, "You finna fight all 4 of them." They was just, maybe a little bit taller than me, not much taller than me. And I fought. We went toe to toe, me and each boy. What was driving me was my mom's belief in me. You see what I mean? So I beat the shit out of the first two boys for sure. The third one, it was more of a draw. The fourth one, my shoulders were so numb that I couldn't lift my arms up no more. He was clocking the shit out of me. So my mom saw that he was clocking me like that. She stopped the fight because my arms I had just had 3 fights and he was fresh. So I couldn't lift my shoulders up anymore. And so she stopped the fight. But I think that pet peeve I have about bullying goes way back. You know what I mean? It's just like bullying is like a weakness that has to be stopped out, especially if it has the ability to drive a kid to try to shoot at a presidential candidate and kill a firefighter. Read off that firefighter's info. Did you pull that up?
He was 50 years old, volunteer fire chief, and he dove onto his family.
He what?
He dove over onto his family, his wife and daughters, to protect them from the shots being fired.
His wife and how many daughters? How old does it say how old his daughters was?
I think it said he has 2 daughters. It just mentions his wife and 1 daughter here.
What was his name?
Corey Comparatori. I'm sorry if I butchered that. There has been a GoFundMe set up, and they've raised over $830,000 for the family for his services and things like that.
Over 800,000.
Over 830,000.
And what's his name? Spell his last name since you're butchering it up.
Yeah, Comperatore.
His name is Corey Comparatori.
Okay.
See,
Yeah,
looks like that's a Sicilian name.
Yeah, and he's got 2 daughters, and looks like maybe just 1 was there with him. His wife and 1 daughter.
And so he dove over his people to protect them, and then he took a bullet. And
Yes.
as a result of the bullying.
Mm-hmm.
So, that bullying, that shit's got to stop.
I got a question. It made me think, we see majority of these extreme situations, killings, they're done by boys or men, due to bullying possibly. And psychologists claim that women are much bigger manipulative bullies than even boys or men. Now, we don't see these things, extreme physical violences, shootings, taking lives, suicidal. Maybe it is, but not as much as men. And if they're bullying even more, why are we seeing just the men, just doing these extreme things?
I mean, I think that's because women have a different modus operandi than what men do. They function differently. They make different measurements socially and emotionally. They're not gonna go out and shoot somebody. They're gonna do things totally different than what Jordan Peterson gave a real good clip on this one time. The difference between female bullying and male bullying.
I would say that females they're not going to react with violence. That's not part of their makeup. They can't physically overpower. They don't necessarily have a violent impulse. Females it comes out as cattiness. And like the online bullying will predominantly be female. And in my mind, what you'll see more with the female bullying is depression, self-harm, eating disorders, suicide. That's where you'll see more like the female stuff coming out. Maybe even, driving to, relationships that are really bad for them, things like that. It won't be like these violent outbursts.
Okay. That makes sense.
Read that bullying hotline off again so we can close this one out.
The bullying hotline, Stop Bullying Now hotline, 1-800-273-8255.
All right, that's it for this one, you guys. If anybody's out there feeling like you're being bullied or if you're being marginalized, whether it's, if it's a form of male bullying or if it's female bullying or whatever the case may be, call somebody and get some help. Don't let yourself be bagged into a corner where you feel pressure to act out and harm people that may not necessarily deserve that harm. We've got a firefighter that's dead and 2 girls that no longer have a father as a result of this kid over here getting bullied. So, yeah.